Hey guys, how are you? Well, it is day number 7, 1 week. We have officially been together 1 whole week doing this 21 days of prayer for your business. I hope you are enjoying it as much as I am. You know, I told you guys that I'm walking through this just like you are. Even though I'll tell you, when I wrote the book, I felt like each day as I wrote, it was things that I was dealing with. And I feel like it's the same way as we sit here and go through our time together. So, wow, it's Saturday. If you're watching this on via Facebook Live, it's Saturday. And so that's the day where maybe it's a little more chaotic around your home and you're going to have to go hide away in a closet, or you could be watching this on YouTube and I have no clue what day it is for you. But anyway, I don't know if you're like me. Sometimes I have to go find a hiding place in the house when it's chaotic, and sometimes it's in the car. Sometimes I go hide in the closet. I mean, is there anybody else out there that does that? So anyway, but today's topic, as you know, I say every single time to start our day off, is that it is my favorite topic. It's one of the topics that I feel like everybody on the face of the planet needs to hear. I actually said that before I went and pressed go live on this Facebook Live, was that, hey, everybody needs to watch this. And so here's the deal. Whenever you begin to walk out the things that we have discussed to this point, this topic today becomes even more vital. And I'm going to tell you why in a minute, but we're 1 week into it. You're sticking it out. You're hanging in there. You're coming back in day after day. You're memorizing your verses. And I am so glad that you're doing that. But you know, here's the deal. Oh, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and pause and let's do our little housekeeping work, because again, I see it came to my mind. Let's do some housekeeping. Housekeeping. What is the first thing that we always say? I will be referencing this book throughout our video today, and you just need to know that you do not need this book to participate in the 21 days of prayer. Okay, that's very important. Sometimes if you're like me, I'm looking for an excuse not to do something, and sometimes when I would see something like this, I would go, oh, it's not in my budget, oh, I can't afford it. But the good thing is I've pulled one over on you. You don't need the book, so you cannot use that excuse. Grab you a pen, grab you a notebook, and today's homework is going to be so important, okay? So the homework that I give you, you've got to pinky promise me that you're gonna do, because it's very, very, very important. The next thing that I'd like to say is that I believe Jeremiah is back here with us today. Well, I know he is, but sometimes he pins a little thing at the top here if you are on Facebook Live. And if you want to get the book, we'd love for you to have the book. You can get it at shop.infuse.com. Okay, the next thing that I like to start off with every video is saying that I would love for you to let these build on each other. So watch day 1, then go to day 2, then go to day 3, so on, so on, so on. And if you get a day behind and you feel like, oh, I'm not doing it, you know, I missed a day, I'm gonna give up, don't throw in the towel. Okay, keep on keeping on. Don't stop. If things get busy, life gets chaotic, and you miss a couple of days, then just pick up with whichever day that you left off on and just keep going. Get 21 days in, all right? And so I just, again, thank you for investing in yourself. Thank you for carving out time, devoting and being intentional to growth, but also letting God be a part of that growth. So, you know, today's topic, when you start to think about the things that we've walked through, do you know that when you start to hand things over to God and you start to give him control, okay? And you're like, here you go, Lord, I'm giving you control, and which is a great step in the right direction. And you even begin to start finding freedom over some things in your life, your past. Maybe now you're not letting your past kind of dictate your future. That's great. Now you are starting to figure out how you're uniquely made. This is wonderful. You're understanding about your strengths and the things that you're passionate about, and you've even caught a vision. Hey, it could even be a God vision. It could even be a vision that 100% beyond a shadow of a doubt is straight from the Lord. Now that you've caught a vision and you're being intentional with it, you're going out there and you're making sure that it gets into your day, that it gets into your business, that it gets into every aspect of your life. You've committed to growing. You're continually growing. Do you know that you can still have a day or a moment where you want to give up? You can. That day is probably going to hit you when you least expect it. And I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but a lot of times it happens right at this stage of when you are getting things going, okay? Remember what we talked about earlier in day 2 about the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy? It freaks him out when you start getting the ball moving in this direction. It just does, because I've told you time and time again, there is power in you walking out who you were made to be, who you were designed to be, who you were destined to be. And I'm telling you that with power in that, the enemy wants nothing but to divert you from that. And so I want to tell you right now, don't give up. You know my story. I have been sharing it over the last few days of our time together. And you know that 4 years ago, August of 2012, I quit work as a nurse. I'm just going to give you Cliff Note version. I quit work as a nurse. I had no clue what I was going to do, but I knew that was not for me anymore. January is when I had this new business venture come my way, and I devoted 21 days of prayer to it, okay? And so devoted 21 days of prayer, you know the story, and I feel like during that time I got this God vision, this clear-cut direction. I understood I'd even gotten over my past, and for the first time, I felt like I got my sparkle back, okay? My friend Vanessa Hudson, I will never forget, told me one day, she walked with me, she was with me through the scrapbook store, and then she walked through that period of time with me whenever we lost everything, and then so she's been through every stage, and she says, Monique, during this time of me being a nurse, I would see her at church and she would just say, it kills me to see you this way. And I would be like, what are you talking about? And she's like, it just kills me to see you this way. You've lost your sparkle. Like this is not the Monique I know. And believe me, as much as it was killing her, I could feel it. I felt like I was dying on the inside. And so I walked through that time, but when I was able to dream again, and when I went through that 21 days of prayer in January, I felt alive again. I had not felt that in so long, that passion of doing something that I felt like I was designed to do and that I was made to do and that I had a vision for and a heart for. And I was so excited. In January, at the end of January, after the 21 days of prayer, I decided to launch into the business, and it started picking up. I mean, picking up in the sense of I had a few people who were jumping on board and joining me on the journey. And I'll never forget, we knew that January, remember I told you we quit work as a nurse, or I did, and I started selling everything I could to keep us afloat. Jeremiah was fixing iPhone screens. I'll never forget the day I logged onto Facebook and I saw someone say that they needed their iPhone screen fixed, and I was like, oh my gosh, Jeremiah fixed his iPhone screen last week. He knows how to do this. And I was like, babe, listen, can you start fixing iPhone screens? And he's like, sure. And so Jeremiah was such a trooper during that time. Can I tell you, between me starting this new business venture and when I quit work, I mean, I was selling everything and I was staying at home with the girls, but Jeremiah was working his full-time job. He was fixing iPhone screens, and then he was also working nights, sometimes early mornings and weekends with my dad's sedan service. He had a sedan service in Birmingham, and he was working his tail off. Life was crazy, and so we knew we had enough money to kind of get through to January, but January and February we had no clue what was going to happen. Well, okay, this new business venture started started. And so Jeremiah said, Monique, if you can just bring in around $1,000 a month, we're going to be good. I mean, we're going to be comfortable. We're going to be able to breathe. We had downsized drastically in our home. Like literally this room that I'm sitting in right now, our house could probably fit in it. We had downsized to very small. Remember my bed, I sold it. The mattress is now sitting on the floor. We're down to the nitty gritty. And my paycheck for the month of January that I made on this new business venture was $54. And I was like, okay, that's a little ways away from 1,000, but I believe that we can do it. And so January starts, it continues, and it flips over into the month of February. Now, my daughter, Elena's birthday is in January, and we did not have enough money to do her birthday party in the month of January. And so we decided that we would do her birthday on February the 1st when Jeremiah got paid. We're like, okay, this makes sense. Jeremiah gets paid, babe, we love you. Can we just do your party on February 1st? She's a trooper. She was like, sure. So I'll never forget, we get the cookie cake, we go to the mall. We were going to have it at the mall, couldn't have it anywhere fancy. We were going to have it in the middle of the food court at the mall, do her cake, and we literally didn't even have enough money to get the kids drinks. So we got water from one of the little soda things from one of the places out in the food court. And that was her party. And on the way to that party, our car, which had been, I think we actually bought that car for my parents, but they like practically gave it to us. It broke down on the way to the party. And I'm thinking, wow, okay, can we not catch a break here? I feel like I'm starting to do the right things and I'm handing over control to God. But what is going on? So I'm sorry, let me grab my tissue. And so I knew today I can never tell the story for the life of me without crying. So anyway, so we end up getting to her party, and we have her party, and we figure, you know what? It was going to cost around $200 to fix the car, and we're like, that's great. We can fix it. Something won't get paid this month. I mean, anybody else out there live paycheck to paycheck to where if something happens and something comes up, you can't pay it? So that was our story. And so, we just think something's not going to get paid. And then guess what happens? Right after we get it fixed, something else breaks on the car. And that was like $600 and something. And so I'm thinking, okay, now we are in a lot of trouble. Okay. We couldn't even pay the other, and now we really can't pay this. And then it gets even worse. With something that was actually a very happy occasion, Jeremiah's sister calls us and says, surprise, I'm getting married in 2 weeks in Louisiana, which at the time we were living in Alabama. And so I'm thinking, fantastic. Okay, our car's broke, and now we really don't know how to fix it because we don't have it. And even if the car did work, we don't have gas money to get down there. And even if we did have gas money, we don't have any clothes that I think is appropriate for a wedding for myself, my husband, and my 2 girls. So it's like, how are we going to even afford it? And so, I'm sorry. So February 15th happens. And I need you to know that before February 15th, I did the 21 days of prayer. I handed control over to God. I found freedom from my past. I knew how I was uniquely made. I called it God vision. I began being intentional in implementing that vision. And I was growing and I was working hard. But life hit, and I really didn't know how to deal with it. And I'll never forget February 15th. Jeremiah, I get up bright and early. The girls were still asleep in the other room. And Jeremiah gets finished getting ready for work. And I'm sitting in the bed working my little fingers to the bones. And he says, so I've got some good news. The place that fixes our car said that they would allow us, they would go ahead and fix it, and they would allow us to pay it over the next 3 months. And I was like, oh wow, that is awesome. We didn't even have credit cards or anything that we could even charge it on. So they were going to allow us to pay it over the course of the next couple of months. He said, my mom is going to send us some gas money that we can go down to Louisiana. And I was like, oh, that is awesome. Now, bad news is while we're gone, I'm not going to be able to work for your dad, and I'm not going to be able to, do some of the phone screens and the things that I'm doing. So we just need to kind of figure it out. And I was like, okay. And I'll never forget when he walked out that door, as I'm sitting in that bed, it was just so many emotions that hit me. From the weight of the world to, are you even going to be able to get out of the situation? You made $54, Monique. Seriously, $54? You're being pretty selfish. You could go right now, Monique, out that door. You could call a hospital. You could go work in a doctor's office. You've got a degree. So why don't you just go do it? You're letting your family suffer. You can't even pay the bills. And so why don't you just go get a job doing what you have a degree for? And at that point, I sat on my bed and I boohoo cried, gut cried, because it was like I was mourning in that moment. I was mourning my sparkle. I was mourning a dream that I had for just a brief second. I was mourning my future that I felt like I was supposed to go down. And I knew that I so easily could make this other decision, but I knew if I did it, I wouldn't be going down this path anymore. I was at a crossroads, and I had to decide. And I know that it was February 15th because I had a little Facebook group of Kelly Wright, Anna White, and Natalie Elrod. And I'll tell you more about that story down the road in our time together, which is such a God thing, that I had that group of friends. And so anyway, I had a little Facebook group, and I went into that Facebook group, and we still have that Facebook group, and that message still lives in that Facebook group. And I just said, listen, I'm sorry, I'm snotting everywhere. I said, hey, listen, guys, I need you to pray for me because I really just feel like I'm not doing the right thing for my family, and I just need to go get a job in a hospital or at a doctor's office or something. And all of them immediately was like, oh, because they knew my story. They had walked through it with me. They knew what I had gone through. They knew what I had prayed for. They knew the vision. And they said, oh no, you're not going to give up. We are praying for you. You are going to stick with this. You are not going to throw in the towel. You know there is something put before you that you are supposed to do. Fight through this urge to do this. And all I know, guys, is that I had such a peace wash over me from a second of this heavy weight that was like 1,000,000 pounds on me, to after I read those messages and then praying for me, I was like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. Game on. Let's push through this. I don't know when your February 15th is going to come. Maybe it won't. I hope to goodness it doesn't. But I need you to know that even if you are walking through all of this that we're about to walk through and you complete the 21 days, there could be a time that you have a February 15th. But you need to do You need to memorize. That's the reason why, guys, memorizing and meditating on the word is so important. It is so important. Today's verse that's in our book and in our flip book that I cover is Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I had faith. I knew I'd had such a peace when I quit work. I knew I had a peace. I knew that something was around the corner. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, I knew it. And I even knew it when we were doing the 21 days of prayer. But it was like I had this instant, this moment, this happening that it consumed me. It was making me not think rationally. And thankfully, I had some amazing friends who kept me going in the right direction and prayed for me. And I had verses like this that Monique, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You cannot see what is around this corner, but you need to have faith that it's going to work out. And I know it's hokey and there's no way that I can explain it, but that I had a perfect peace at that moment. And I knew that I could keep moving in the right direction. So you guys, today's going to probably be a little short and sweet compared to our other days. But I want you to just pinky promise me that everything within you is going to fight that temptation to give up if that day comes for you. And the homework today is so important. I'm gonna give you the homework and then we are gonna pray. But the homework for today, let me just read it to you. I'll just read it out. I have a little assignment for you. This is on page 51. I have a little assignment for you before we part ways. Think about why. Hold on, let me get some drink. I'm a hot mess over here, guys. Sorry. Okay. I have a little assignment for you before we part ways. Think about why you are so passionate about the path you are pursuing. Why are you devoting this time to prayer for your business? Do you have a God vision? Do you have dreams? What is it that is pulling at your heartstrings? I would like you to write a letter to yourself, encouraging you to never give up. You heard me right. Don't laugh. There may be a point in your life that is your February 15th, a time when you are at a crossroads and have to decide if you throw in the towel or if you keep pushing forward. Talk yourself off the ledge in this letter. Remind yourself why you are walking this path. I pray if that time ever comes in your life, this letter will encourage you to keep on keeping going. Now, let me tell you where that idea came from, me telling you to write a letter. Because you may not have somebody in your life. You may not have a Kelly Wright or an Anna White or a Natalie Elrod in your life. You may not have a Jeremiah McLean who is supportive and tells you to keep on. It's going to be okay. Today we're having a bad day, but you keep doing what you're doing. You may not have that person. So what I need you to do, you need to know you're always going to have God to turn to. But I need you to also understand this letter is seriously something that I'm not kidding about. Write yourself a letter, put it in an envelope, seal it, and write on the front of it, open in case of an emergency. With the company that I'm with, I spoke at an event for our company, and I told this story in our time there, and I had everybody do this assignment, and I got a lot of good feedback from it. So I want to tell the story to you. When Jeremiah and I met in a ministry training school in Rockford, Illinois, I knew from the minute, well, not from the minute I saw him, the first time, true story, this will be a small squirrel moment, he said he rode with me to some radio station or something. He rode in my car, and I totally don't remember that. So it wasn't love at first sight because I don't even remember him being around the first time that he remembers. But shortly after, spending some time with him, I was completely infatuated. And you couldn't date our first year. You couldn't date. But I knew there was something special about this guy. And every morning we would pray in the sanctuary. It was a 5,000 seater sanctuary, and it was always really dark in there. It was kind of, the lights were dimmed down, and I sat all the way at the tip top far corner of the church, and he prayed all the way down at the very other bottom far corner. And Ken, it's been so long ago, but I can still, it's like I can hear the buzz of the heater. It's just, I can even feel the atmosphere of it in there. And I remember watching him one day, and I had my journal out, and I was writing it, and I was like, I'm going to marry that guy. I loved watching him pray. I loved his love for the Lord. And I'm like, I'm going to marry him. And, but the funny thing is that he wasn't really, thinking the same thing, but that was okay. We couldn't date our first year. No biggie. But between our first and second year, because we went back for a second year, follow with me on the story. Between our first and second year, he was going back to Louisiana and I was going back to Alabama. We were working to raise money to come back for our second year. And we had then, after graduation, you could date your second year. We had discussed the possibility of dating. Now, still at this point, I like him a lot. He is still not so sure about me, but he's going to, think about it. He's thinking crazy girl over here. And so, anyway, there was a slight problem, though, right before I was going home for that summer break. And it was this issue with this guy that I had pretty much liked since 7th grade. It was one of those, I don't know if you ever just liked one particular person pretty much all through high school, junior high, whatever. But there was this one boy that I had met, great guy, great family, and we had liked each other off and on pretty much from 7th grade. On. And just so happened to be that when I went off to school to Illinois, he went overseas and did into the military. And so we stayed in touch, even though you weren't supposed to talk to boys. We did. Okay. So you can go tell on me. I've already graduated from the school. But anyway, I stayed in touch with this guy. And he would send me postcards, and we'd write back and forth. We even talked a couple of times on the phone. But at this stage of the game, even though I always thought that I would end up with this guy, Jeremiah's come into the picture. And I'm like, he's the one. I just know he's the one. But here's the deal. When we were going back home for summer break, he was actually going to be coming back home from overseas. Bingo, right at the same time. And we discussed possibly going out, seeing each other, and I'm like, okay. Well, here's the thing. I started to panic a couple of days before I was going home because I knew I was supposed to marry Jeremiah McLean, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Even though it took him a little while to figure it out, I knew. I was afraid that I was going to get home, and because I had liked this guy for so long, and I'd always envisioned myself probably ended up marrying him, I loved his family. A fantastic guy. I'm thinking, Monique, you're going to go home and you're going to go out with him, and it's going to be all over. Because every time we liked each other from 7th grade to 12th grade, he liked me, I didn't like him. But vice versa. I liked him, he didn't like me. So I always said it would have been dangerous had we ever really just clicked at the same time, right? And so I start thinking, you're going to go back and you're going to do something stupid. So I got a piece of paper out and I wrote myself a letter. Saying, Monique, now you listen. I know this is a good guy. I know he is amazing. I know you've always thought this is the one, but you need to know that Jeremiah McLean is who you're supposed to be with. I wrote myself open in case of emergency. And I wrote that on the front of my envelope, stuck it inside my Bible. Now, can I tell you, fast forward through the story, we end up going out when I go home. I actually wrote this, what I'm telling you, I actually wrote in the book, and then I actually deleted the whole entire chapter. I should have just left it because now I'm telling it. But anyway, I go home, and pretty much, long story short, we talk and I tell him I've met Jeremiah and it is what it is. And all these years later, 17, 18 years later, Jeremiah and I are here. But I need you to know, I didn't have to open up my case in case of an emergency letter. But it was there if I needed it. So I'm telling you, write it. What is it that you are so passionate about? Why are you, whatever you're doing, the vision that you've got, the dreams that you have, what you're wanting to accomplish, what is it? You know why I get so emotional telling this story? Like, I literally cannot tell the story. Like, I'll think I'm going to do fine this time. I could just be just saying it nonchalantly and it like wells up to where I can't breathe. And do you know why this story gets me so much about not giving up? Is because I was thinking about that right before I walked in here and sat down. And I was thinking, what would it look like had February 15th turned out differently? If you would have gone and not pursued the path that you're on right now, Monique, if you would have gone and got a job working in a doctor's office, what would your life look like right now compared to what it looks like right now? And it would have probably been good. I mean, I've got a great family. I've got a great husband. I've got great parents. Jeremiah's awesome. We go to a great church. I probably would not have my sparkle. Still probably would be living with a lot of insecurities, a lot of what ifs. What if you would have not done this? What if you would have kept? What if, Monique? I would have had a lot of what ifs. And I got to looking at this amazing place I'm in right now with this amazing view. And can I tell you, for 1 second, there's not 1 second, and this is as I was coming to sit down, I was like, you know what? I wouldn't be here right now in this beautiful place. I wouldn't be able to afford it. But can I tell you something? That is not what wells up inside of me and makes me want to just ugly face cry. It's not the things that I've acquired over the last 4 years. It is not at all the nice vacations. It is not any of these things that I get because I took that path. It's doing what I'm doing right now, talking to you guys, is what makes me ugly face cry. Because to know that I was not walking in this path of doing really what I feel like I was made to do, what I love, what I'm passionate about is bringing other people hope. I don't know, maybe the Lord would have found a way to allow me to do that wherever I was, but I am so content and happy doing what I'm doing. And I do feel like I sparkle. I do feel like I have got that back, and I love the path that I'm on, and it tears me up on the inside to think that I could have lost that on this journey. So anyway, we're going to pray. Let me tell you the rest of your homework for today. Whenever you write your letter, you guys, I want you to take a picture of it. So write your letter, take a picture of it, and why don't you just save it into your phone somewhere? Because you never know, and you might not have that letter on you, but we usually always have our phone on us. So you can grab that phone up and you can look at it. I'm so sorry that I'm like totally snot, and this is probably the most disgusting video ever. I'm so sorry. So gross. And I want you to memorize and meditate on Hebrews 11:1 and Romans 8:37. Okay, let's pray. Okay. Lord, I love you so very much. I love you, and I thank you. I thank you for this journey. Lord, I thank you for friends who just keep you on the right path and pray over you and speak life over you. And I pray for everyone watching that they find friends like that. Lord, I pray that they find some people that just encourage them to not throw in the towel, to keep on keeping on, Jesus. And if they don't have that, Lord, may you just be that that friend, again, that sticks closer than a brother, that keeps them on the right path that they can turn to, and you can lift that weight, that heavy burden off of them and keep them moving in the right direction. Lord, you have overcome things in their life. You have set the ball in motion, and whatever comes their way, the enemy is not going to divert their path. He is not going to steal, kill, or destroy any of their dreams, any of their hopes, any of their peace, any of their destiny. Because if we throw in the towel, we have no clue what could be right there around the corner. Right around the corner. Lord, I love you. Speak to people today. Bring peace in your name. Amen. All right, guys. I love you all so very much, and I'm just so thankful that you keep coming back every single day and just investing in yourself, and most importantly, letting God be a part of that. So if you're watching this Facebook Live and you are obviously in the 50K to Pray Facebook group, yay you, tonight at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, we are going to be doing a week one in review. Very laid back, very casual. I may even have my PJs on. But we are going to do a week one in review, okay? And we are going to be going through the things that we have discussed. I've been getting a lot of messages, and if you are watching this via YouTube, it's fantastic. You obviously will not catch the Facebook Live, but that's okay. What I need you to do is I will load the Facebook Live that we're doing tonight that will just be titled Week 1 Review. So if you've got questions, if you've got things that just are not clear to you, I'm going to try answering them. I can't promise you that I'm going to have the answers to your questions. Remember what I told you, I don't think I'm this like Bible theological, teacher, but I will do the best of my ability. So on the Facebook Live, I need you to come with your questions. I've just been getting a lot. My inbox right now, please know, keep the messages coming. I love reading them, but my inbox is like crazy. But I love it. Keep sending them. But a lot of the questions are the exact same, and I want to answer them. So come to the Facebook Live, ask your questions. We'll talk through some things, and then I'll upload it to YouTube, just like I do all of these other videos, and you can watch it there, week 1 in review, if you don't catch the Facebook Live. All right? So I love you. I hope you have a great rest of your day. It's beautiful here at the beach. It's a nice sunny day, so I'm about to go back out there. I picked up seashells all day. Yesterday I found a new love. It's so therapeutic and relaxing. So anyway, y'all are awesome, and I'll see you back here tomorrow, which after Don't Give Up, tomorrow we are talking about, I think I know what it is. Is it Live a Life of Worship? Oh, you get to hear where my vision came in. Oh, I love it. I can't wait. I love it. Okay, I'll see you guys back here tomorrow.